In the top stories, 7 children among 16 active cases of COVID-19 in St. Kitts and Nevis. Bahamian teens charged for murder, and Gaza sees a surge in COVID-19 infections following recent attacks. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today is Wednesday, May 26, 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws has confirmed that of the 16 active cases of COVID-19, 7 are children in the age range of 3 to 15 years. All public and private schools in St. Kitts and Nevis have been closed for 2 weeks from May 25 to June 8 in an effort to help contain the spread. The other 9 active cases are adults between the ages of 33 and 49 years. Dr. Laws further said that all 16 active cases are in stable condition and are being monitored closely. Dr. Laws made the revelation during her presentation on leadership matters on Tuesday when she announced an additional case.
This new case is referred to as case number 61, who is a national and is linked to cases number 51 and 52. Case 61 is in isolation. There are now 16 active cases, the highest number since we started our COVID response. These cases include 7 children between the ages of 3 years and 15 years, and 9 adults between 33 to 49 years.
Of the 61 confirmed cases, 47 were recorded in St. Kitts and 14 in Nevis. 45 of the 61 confirmed cases have fully recovered. Officials from the Public Works Department will be featured on the government radio and TV program Working for You later today. The special guests will be George Gilbert, Director of the Public Works Department, Livingston Pemberton, Chief Engineer at the Public Works Department, and Lorraine Gums, an engineer at the department. The discussion will focus on Public Works Week 2021, which runs from May 22 to 28 under the theme Working Together to Serve You Better. The week of activities will be discussed, and the panel will also engage in a conversation on the work of the Public Works Department, including ongoing capital projects and how the department continues to play a vital role in the expansion of public infrastructure and economic, human, and sustainable development. Working for You is broadcast live every Wednesday on ZIZ Radio at 1:30 p.m. and other participating radio stations. The program is also streamed live on the SKNIS Facebook and YouTube pages. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is inviting the general public to participate in the Indigenous Literature Prize of America, or PLIA, competition. Offered in collaboration with the Embassy of the United Mexican States, this competition will cater for written or orally recorded work in the participants' mother tongue. Interested persons are free to choose a theme for their work, which can contain 1 or more stories. The length of each submission must be at least 40 sheets in the Indigenous language, or the amount corresponding to the translation of the common language of the country of origin. The body of work must express or recreate the aesthetic, semantic, and discursive elements of the participant's culture and language, and contribute to the development, promotion, and literary dissemination in the Indigenous language. The deadline for submission of entries to this competition is Wednesday, the 4th of August, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs at Building Number 15, Port Zante, Basse-Terre. Further guidance for participation in this competition can be found on the website of the United Mexican States at cunorte, that's cunorte.udg.mx/PLIA. We now move to news on the regional scene. In the Bahamas, 2 teenage boys have been charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder after they stabbed to death a student on the compound of the government high school last week. Eyewitness News has the details.
2 teen boys were arraigned in the magistrate's court today in connection with the stabbing death of an 11th grade government high school student Last week, a 15 and 16-year-old boys, both of Bozine Town, appearing before Magistrate Cara Turnquest DeVoe, charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Prosecutors allege that on May 18th, being concerned together, the teens intentionally caused the death of 15-year-old Kem Paul and attempted to kill another 16-year-old GSH student. Police say the 2 victims were in a corridor of the senior high school on the day in question when they were approached by the suspects. An altercation occurred, which resulted in the teen suspects producing a sharp-edged tool and allegedly stabbing the victims several times before scaling the school's fence and escaping. They were caught by police several days later. The 15-year-old had both parents in court today, and the 16-year-old had 1 guardian. The father of the murdered teen also appearing in court and cried during today's arraignment. The teen boys had no reaction. They were both denied bail and remanded to the Simpson Penn School for Boys until July 27th, when they are expected to return to court for a service of a voluntary bill of indictment.
Out of Grenada, as students, teachers and parents to continue to lament the unpreparedness to sit regional exams, representatives of UNICEF are urging the regional body to restructure examinations. GBN News tells us more in this report.
The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, on Monday urged the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, to make adjustments to this year's CSEC and CAPE examinations and has called on regional education ministers to intervene urgently. In a statement released, 4 UNICEF representatives for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Belize, Jamaica, and Guyana and Suriname recommended that the regional examining body make adjustments to the content and administration of the exams to ensure students are not disadvantaged. As a result, the UN Children's Advocates called on education ministers to, and I quote, request CXC to adjust the 2021 exams and to further simplify the content and the methodology of the exams across all subjects, and adapt the timeline to the challenges currently faced by the students to ensure equitable accessibility and participation for every student. While recognizing the efforts already made by CXC in reducing certain requirements and making concessions, such as providing the topics for the long answer paper 5 weeks prior to the commencement of the exams, and reducing requirements for the SBAs, UNICEF said there are still a number of issues which require more substantial changes and flexibility, especially as the current pandemic context has further exacerbated the gaps in preparedness amongst the most disadvantaged students. The statement said this year there is a higher risk of those students in vulnerable conditions never sitting the exams. This could seriously affect not only their further education at higher secondary or tertiary levels, but their future. In a statement released by CXC on Saturday, it was revealed that on Tuesday, 25th May, the Governing Council of CXC will meet to discuss and approve final examinations and procedures for 2021. By Wednesday, 26th May, a press release will be disseminated and a press conference held to update the public on the decisions made.
Internationally, the Gaza Strip is facing a new wave of coronavirus cases worsened by Israel's 11-day bombing of the territory. The World Health Organization has voiced concern about the tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians in UN shelters unable to socially distance. The conflict also destroyed several hospitals and killed medics. 250 new infections and 5 deaths were reported on Tuesday. Al Jazeera's Harry Fawcett reports.
Midat Amasi is struggling for breath. Like much of Gaza's population, he'd spent days at home in fear of Israeli bombing raids. The trouble was he'd been infected with COVID-19 and was getting worse day by day. Now his condition, doctors say, is very serious.
He was infected at home during the war. He had coronavirus symptoms, but he couldn't come to the hospital because he was scared of the shelling. We've had many cases like this that we've been dealing with.
In another ward in Gaza City's Shifa hospital, we find Majid Saleh, a doctor turned patient. Recently out of intensive care, it wasn't COVID-19 that put him there, it was an Israeli airstrike. The security camera in Gaza's Ministry of Health building shows the moment he was blasted out of his office. The building wasn't hit directly. This was collateral damage from a strike across the street. But it was more than enough to shut down Gaza's only COVID-19 test lab. Testing finally resumed at less than half the previous capacity on Monday. As well as keeping people at home, the airstrikes also drove tens of thousands out and into temporary refuge in school buildings. There was some rapid flow testing done in places like this. The positivity rates were as high as 50%.
No distancing, no masks, no protection, no hygiene. All of this created a bad situation. We know that corona spreads rapidly and that we have the British variant here in Gaza. 5 cases would have been enough to infect all 4,000 people in one school.
The Health Ministry is worried about the prospects of what it calls a disastrous third wave of coronavirus, which is why this is so necessary. 48,600 doses of the Pfizer vaccine delivered under the COVAX International Alliance, straight to Gaza's only ultra-cold freezer in the Rantisi hospital. In comparison to the vaccination campaign so far in Gaza, this represents a major delivery and a much-needed one. But in comparison to the need across Gaza, especially right now, it remains a drop in the ocean. This is far from the mass vaccination campaign seen just a short drive and a world away in Israel. So far, less than 2% of Gaza's population has been fully vaccinated. While Gaza has been focused on the immediate life and death concerns of a brutal but short war, a longer-term threat may well have been gathering pace. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Gaza.
Half of all adult Americans have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, the White House said, roughly 6 weeks before President Biden's July 4 goal of 70% of the adult population receiving at least one shot. More in this Reuters report.
Today, the U.S. will hit 50% of adult Americans that are fully vaccinated. This is a major milestone in our country's vaccination efforts.
White House senior COVID-19 advisor Andy Slavitt on Tuesday announced the good news. 131 million American adults, or about one-half, are fully vaccinated.
Small pinch.
The halfway mark comes as federal, state, and local leaders press ahead with delivering shots to people who have not yet received them, while also battling vaccination hesitancy, fears, and misinformation.
When the virus looks for a place to spread, and it doesn't spread to a vaccinated person, it will look for you.
On Tuesday, Slavitt praised the creative efforts that governors have put in place, including some states where millions of dollars are up for grabs for people who roll up their sleeves.
How about a chance to win $1 million?
$2 million.
Vax and Scratch. How do you like that name?
Companies are also stepping up. On Monday, Uber and Lyft launched COVID-19 vaccine ride programs in partnership with the White House, offering Americans free rides or discounts for their trips to and from a vaccination site. In Hollywood this past weekend, freshly vaccinated people had the chance to win Hamilton tickets. And United Airlines is now offering some lucky winners free flights, all in the name of vaccines.
Vaccines. Patriotic, free, good for your social life, and a chance to win.
As more people become inoculated, new coronavirus infections nationwide are declining. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky.
Our 7-day average is 22,877 cases per day. This represents yet another decrease of about 25% from the prior 7-day average and reflects 7 consecutive days with our 7-day average below 30,000 cases a day.
But there's another milestone still to be met. President Joe Biden's July 4th goal of getting at least one shot into 70% of American adults.
At least with one shot before that day.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are partly cloudy skies with a slight dust haze. Winds are a moderate breeze of 14 miles per hour from a northeasterly direction. The temperature is 29 degrees Celsius or 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves of 3 to 5 feet, and the weather forecast in St. Kitts and Nevis for today will be mostly sunny with a 30% or low chance of showers, and tonight mostly fair with a 20% or slight chance of scattered showers. Sunset today will be at 6:39 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:36 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.